Oh my god. What I'm about to say is so dangerous and horrific for Vitali that I can't even fully express it in words. Because right now, Duterte supporters are about to protest and the entire political landscape in the Philippines is getting disrupted. And you might be wondering, why the hell am I saying all this? It doesn't seem to matter in Vitali's case, but unfortunately, it absolutely does. Here's how. When the political climate in a country becomes unstable, it doesn't matter what you did or didn't do. If I have to give you an example, let's say whatever Vitali gave, be it money, power, connections, or influence, if somehow he manages to get away or escape punishment right now, it will raise serious questions. People will start questioning the legitimacy of the current government, led by Bongbong Marcos Jr., because then Duterte's supporters and his political allies will claim this is a clear sign of deep-rooted corruption. They'll say, how did Vitali escape? Who helped him? How much money was involved?
In the Philippines, like many developing countries, money talks, especially in prison. Vitali has two options. Live in absolute hell with 40 other men in a sweltering cell with no privacy, terrible food, and constant danger. Or pay exorbitant bribes to corrupt prison officials for basic human comforts.
And that could completely destroy the reputation of the Marcos administration. People in the Philippines will stop trusting the government, especially when the current president has already been forced to reshuffle his entire cabinet to remove corrupt officials.
Will protests or poverty end the presidency? Is President Marcos really under threat from the furious Duterte camp? Or is the economy his real enemy? After ex-President Duterte's dramatic ICC arrest, loyalists launched protests accusing Marcos of betrayal. Public curses, fiery rallies, and rising political tension have shaken the landscape. But as Vice President Sara faces impeachment and Duterte awaits trial, the unrest may not be enough to topple Marcos.
That is also one of the main reasons why Vitali's situation has worsened. If the political scene was calm, he could have just paid off the right people and walked away quietly, but not anymore. And trust me, I get emails almost every day from people saying how brutal and ruthless Duterte was. They say if Duterte were still president, this whole situation wouldn't even exist.
If Duterte was still president, what would have happened to him?
What?
Just an arrest? Or
Vitali, a Russian YouTuber, was arrested in the Philippines for pranks. He harassed locals, stole items, and it's a crime.
I really respect what the Philippine government did this time.
But if Duterte were still in charge, I think it would have been much worse for him. He's lucky.
And what do they mean by that? They don't mean Vitali would have been deported. They mean Vitali would have disappeared quietly, permanently. If Duterte was still in power, the government could have simply made him vanish, just like what we saw happen in North Korea. Remember when that American guy went there? He vanished, and by the time he was sent back to the US, he was in a coma, and then he died. No one had answers. If Duterte was in charge, something similar could have happened to Vitali.
Sitting there like, I was just over there after and everybody was telling me they hate his ass. They said he might get killed.
Yeah.
That's what the Philippine people was telling me.
The prisoners hate him too?
They hate him. Everybody hate him.
He disrespected the culture. He disrespected
my God.
the
I was
country.
just over there after that shit happened to him.
Yeah.
They could have just made up a story. Oh, some fellow inmates attacked him. We don't know how it happened. And you know what? No one would have questioned it. Because let's be honest, Vitali is not a respected person. He's hated globally. Even his own countries, Russia and the US, don't want him back. They all said he should be punished hard so that nobody from any country dares to pull off stunts like his ever again.
News that both Russia and the United States do not want to accept him for deportation. Russia explicitly coming out and saying, do not pull a Vitali, condemning his actions, telling Russian citizens, Russian nationals not to behave like Vitali, very much strongly coming out against Vitali, whereas the U.S. saying, look, simply, we're not going to take this guy.
So if anyhow Vitali gets stuck, I guarantee you he will, again, act like a religious father. Yes, he will play a super innocent role with his old helping the poor clips, and he will make a show that he's now good, he's now better, and that's why anyone can be forced to forgive him. But it's just his strategy, nothing else.
His brand is all about attention. Pay attention to me. You see, everything that he did, including giving away the money, was done in the spotlight. And we know that the scriptures are clear. You're supposed to give with your right hand without letting your left hand know what it's doing. When you pray, you have to pray humbly and in quote-unquote secret. That doesn't mean that you're not allowed to pray publicly, unless of course you're like in England and you can get literally arrested for that. But to enter deeply into the recesses of your heart and allow space for you and God to commune privately, that's what that means. But in this case, it's all about him.
But it's not just a part of Vitaly's current strategy. He is right now trying to take any action to escape. Because as you may already know, people are saying that according to Philippine history, the country doesn't really have the power to hold a foreigner for a long time. And especially when that foreigner is a millionaire like Vitali, there's almost no chance the Philippines can keep him for much longer.
You commit a crime, they keep you for like 1/5 or 1/10 of your sentence, and then they're gonna, deport you because it's not worth it for them. It's not worth for the expenses or whatever to keep you during your, for example, 15-year or 10-year sentence, because they have to feed you, give you a place. It's going to take capacity of the prison. So they're going to, we're just going to deport your ass and not spend any money on you. Go back to your country and you're blacklisted and you're never allowed to come back.
And there's more news coming out right now. Vitaly's green card may have already been expired by the American authorities. That's also a serious issue because now the US might refuse to accept him as a deportee. And not just that, he could actually face even more consequences because of it.
I don't know if he still has citizenship. I guess they wouldn't have tried to deport him there if he didn't. And then I guess he has a green card in America, which is wild that this guy has a green card and all these poor undocumented people getting rounded up by ICE have to leave the country.
True.
Oh my God!
Look how tiny he is.
He's definitely lost some bulk.
He's a petite little guy now.
So absolutely nothing is confirmed yet about whether his green card still remains or not. But one thing's for sure, Vitali will not stay a single second in the Philippines after the next nanosecond of his deportation because he's already learned his lesson. And what will he do? Pay and get out of there. That's the most sharp and easy strategy for him right now.
Vitali essentially thinks he can buy out the Philippines, that he can just pay them out, that he can just get out of this and, say, oh, I'm sorry, here's some cash, leave me alone. And one of the most annoying things about this is this has been his consistent strategy, even with the individuals he's pranking. Vitali has to appeal to try to get out of jail.
So yes, the political chaos in the Philippines right now is both a curse and a potential escape route for Vitali. Why? Because when the country's in chaos, people are distracted. The media is focused on the protests, the tension between Duterte's allies and the current government. That's the breaking news right now. If they cover Vitali, it won't get as many views. So suddenly, Vitali's situation feels silent, almost invisible. And that's the moment his team, his family, his people might try to make their move. Use the silence, use the distraction, manipulate the system. It's the perfect time to sneak out while everyone's looking the other way. So what do I think? Honestly, it's a 50-50. This political chaos could either trap Vitali forever or help him escape without a trace. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Will Vitali escape, or will the Duterte-Marcos tension make it even worse for him?